Hello, good morning, happy Wednesday. It's me, Bethany. I am here with you for our Wednesday live good morning chat, all about home care agencies. And sometimes we talk about state requirements, other times we just talk about really important topics in this field. And today we're going to be doing that. I really want to shine a light on Medicaid. This is a hot topic right now, just in general and in our world. You might be seeing it a lot in the news. I know I am in my state specifically. So I wanted to just have a candid conversation about it. I want to talk about what's going on, what it might look like being a Medicaid provider. I also want to talk about, like the pros and cons a little bit of it all. And just really, I just want to be like super transparent. I'm always transparent, but I want to be super transparent with you about it because I know as an agency yourself, maybe you've just started your agency or you're getting started and you're kind of like, what is this whole Medicaid thing about? Do I want to do it? What do I do? Right? So, that's what we're going to do. And, it's interesting. I don't know if you see this. It's like I keep shrinking, keep going down. There's something seriously wrong with my little tripod thing here. So, sorry about that. I'm going to try it again. I'm going to try one more time. Usually I put a clip on it. Let me grab a clip here real quick. Here we go. Okay. All right, so let's have a little chit chat about this. So I do want to just say that in my state right now, in the state of Maine, we're having something happen with our Medicaid that has never happened before. And this was all before our governor kind of had that little tiff with the president. So a lot of people think it's related to that, and it's not. This was going on before that. We were notified as providers mid-February that there was an issue with the Medicaid budget in our state. And that's not unusual. That happens a lot where there's a deficit and we're just waiting as providers, home care providers, hospitals, pharmacies, nursing homes, of course, even there's all kinds of programs, right, that this affects. And this happens regularly. I shouldn't say regularly, probably yearly, where we get a notice, there's a deficit, they need to pass a budget, right? And so I don't get nervous about it anymore because it always passes. It always does. It always works out. And this year, we were notified mid-February, like I said. We would know by February 25th if it passed or not. And as of February 25th last week, we learned that they couldn't come to an agreement. They couldn't figure it out. So it did not pass. And so what we have been told as providers, Medicaid providers across the state of Maine, this is what we're told. Our hospitals will be reimbursed at 70% for Medicaid. Our pharmacies, I think they're fall in that same bracket. And then all other providers such as myself, and there's so many. I mean, like my best friend, she works as a occupational therapist working with children at a children's center they live with autism, those kids, and they're all Medicaid. So I mean, I'm talking way beyond the home care at this point. I won't go too deep into this, but what we were told, first time ever. So I don't want you guys to get nervous. I'm not totally nervous yet, but it's different. Is that we will be paid on a first come, first serve basis. So what that means is all of these probably 150,000, I don't know, that's extreme, organizations in our state are going to be billing, and it's going to be first come, first serve. They're setting a cap every week with how much they're going to reimburse. We don't even know what that cap is. That cap could be normally they reimburse $100 million and they're going to reimburse $50 million. So I am literally sending people in to care for my Medicaid clients, not knowing if I'm going to get fully reimbursed. So that is different. And this is going to happen for at least 3 months. It's got to go to the Senate, and then it's got to get figured out again from there. So, and all those figures I just gave you were not accurate figures. I'm just trying to give examples here of what it might be like, but they're all examples. So we had to decide as a company, and this will happen in your company. You have to decide, like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, what's the plan, right? And so our plan is that instead of the week with Medicaid goes Sunday to Saturday, all right? So normally what happens Sunday to Saturday, and then we get all our paperwork in a row on a Monday, and we do billing on like Tuesday and Wednesday. And that's how we roll. So instead, now what we're going to do, and I'm really fortunate that I have such a good team, they are willing to work on Saturday evening so that when that work week ends, Saturday, they're going to be doing all the billing Saturday night in an effort to be a first come, first serve, first come, first pay, right? In an effort for that. So that's how we're pivoting around that. The other thing that we're doing is we are going to need to increase our client base in other areas, right? So I always say this, it's so important to diversify. You never want to just have one payor. You never want to have that. You want to have multiple payors so that way you're getting steady income for your company to keep it going. So what we're going to be doing, I just finished it, is a 12-page booklet that will be printed and nicely bound. I'll have a example of it here soon, but this booklet is designed and speaks to discharge planners at hospitals. It speaks to social workers / case managers at doctor's offices, and it also, I guess we have some balloons here, speaks to assisted living community directors. And you may be saying, well, assisted living, why would you want to go to assisted living? But oftentimes with assisted living, what we're finding is that those folks really want to age in place. Maybe they have an apartment and maybe their health needs have gone beyond what the assisted living facility can offer. So oftentimes what happens is families will private pay to have an agency come in and fill in the gaps, come in and do what their loved one needs, or provide more of that one-on-one support that the assisted living facility, either it's not in their scope or they just don't have the resources to do. So that's why it's geared towards those three entities, right? So that information is going to be dropped off, put in the hands of those people, along with accompanying brochures that will go out to each of the potential clients that they think would be a good fit for our agency, that they think we can serve. So that booklet that I have designed, the template on that actually is going to be uploaded into the Academy portal. So if you are an owner inside of the Home Care Agency Academy, you will have access to that template. You can customize it for your agency and then distribute it as well into your community wherever you're needing to. And I'm also going to add it to the mentorship membership that we have. So those folks that are, those owners, that are in the mentorship program, you'll have this template as well, okay? All right, so those are my two things for pivoting right now, right? There's not too much I can do. This is out of my control. It's a state issue. And like I said, one time in 14 years that this has happened. So I have trust, I have faith that it will work out because I know the importance of this program, and I know it's going to be okay. But for right now, the next 90 days, I really have to focus hard on making sure my agency's okay and my staff are okay. And so that means really working hard on building out my client base in other areas, such as private pay and long-term care. Now, I know there's been some questions also around Medicaid. All of that aside, there's been some questions around Medicaid about how they do pay out. And my experience with Medicaid, and I really, I could be wrong, but I think this is going to speak to all 50 states, is that because we're all using like a lot of the same technology, the EBV, the Gainwell technology, is that if you're billing weekly, you're going to get paid weekly. If you're billing monthly, then you're probably only going to get paid monthly, right? If you're billing just like once every 2 months, right? So my suggestion with Medicaid is to bill weekly. If you can bill weekly, do it, right? Why not? With VA, you can bill weekly. You get paid with VA, you get paid pretty instantly, which is nice to have that. They deposit really quickly with the VA. And then with like your long-term care and your private pay, that's really up to you. If you're billing them weekly, if you're billing them bi-weekly or monthly. I would at least suggest with your private pays that you're billing weekly. So it might be the 1st and the 15th, something of that nature. But definitely bi-weekly, because you want to have, again, that steady flow of income. And you also don't want to give them a big old bill at the end of the month, right? Or the beginning of the month. That could be potentially overwhelming to them, right? But yeah, so with your Medicaid billing, you can get paid, this is my knowledge, this is my experience, weekly, but you got to bill weekly in order to do that. Do I think Medicaid overall is a good idea for home care agencies? Yes, I do. You're not going to have the reimbursement rate that you're going to have with your VA, with your private pay. Obviously, you're not going to have that. It's going to be generally less. However, it does, most importantly, it provides care to people who need these services. Second most important is that it fills in the gaps for your agency. So let's say you have a private pay client who only needs care 8 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, and then you have a staff member who wants, 6 hours a day. Where are they going to go after that other client? Are you going to hopefully be able to find another private pay client to fill in from like 10:30 to 2:30, or is that hard to do that? Maybe you can just look in the Medicaid database or getting referrals, and you can say, oh yeah, I can take care of you for 4 hours Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and fill that in. So it's really, I find, a good resource overall for the company, because there's pretty consistent referrals with Medicaid. You can get paid weekly, and it just helps to help things run efficiently and smoothly within your company, because you can't really truly rely on any of these entities, right? But sometimes your private pay, your long-term care can be harder to access compared to your Medicaid. So it definitely helps to balance things out in your agency economy, if you will. And overall, it's a good idea. I wouldn't go all in on Medicaid. I wouldn't be like, I just do Medicaid, because there's so much that's out of our hands with Medicaid. I say they pay weekly. They do state they have 30 days to pay. So that can happen. And sometimes at the fiscal end year, I do see that happen, and I'm just prepared for it. It's, the end of their fiscal year and they're running out of money. So they always do pay, but sometimes it takes them a while to do so. So in a nutshell, I would do Medicaid. I'm still going to stick by Medicaid, even though we're right now as our state in an issue, because the people need care, and overall it's a good program, and it's pretty, you know, there's some steps to it, but overall it's worth it. It's totally worth it. So I hope that this helps you as you navigate the whole Medicaid idea. I know there was a lot of questions in the group about whether or not you can even get contracted with Medicaid right now, and I did put that in a long post, but the short answer is yes, you can. It's in all 50 states. What's happening is that there's caps right now in quite a few states, right? So that simply means that either there's been an issue with funding, but more likely it's that there's so many people receiving these services that they can't open it up to any more people, right? So then there's a cap on, like, they're like, done, we can't take on any more clients, consumers into this program, into this Medicaid program. So that means that the current agencies in the state are only be able to provide care to the ones that are already in the program, right? But as funding changes, which it does throughout the year, they open up dollars, then the program gets opened back up. Referrals start just pouring back in, right? So that's really the only thing, is sometimes there's a cap, but it's always a temporary cap. It doesn't last for years or anything like that. It's usually months. So that's the only sort of hurdle. But overall, I would definitely consider Medicaid. I wouldn't go all in on it. Maybe it's like 10% of what you do is Medicaid or something of that nature. Something to consider. It's all considerations. But I hope that this information helps you. If you have any questions at all, reach out to me, support@BethanyRatcliffe.com. I hope you have an awesome day.